Good evening, chaps and chapesses. How the devil are you? Friday's here, the sun is shining, the beer is cold and the beer is poured. And it's time once again for the live stream. As is evidenced by the title, once again, I have absolutely no clue what I'm going to talk about, but I'll muddle through somehow that I usually do. Anyway, excuse me. If anyone's interested, tonight it is Heineken, or to begin with anyway. There's as you can see from the duvet and bedding and stuff behind me, we have an old pal of mine has come to stay with us for Easter, and hence the sofa bed is folded down into its bed form at the moment, and he's brought beer with him. He's brought a couple of kegs of something called Butcombe Ale, which I'm looking forward to getting me tonsils around later. So without further ado, let's go and see what's been going on in the chat and who was first in. Basically doing the register as we usually do. Johnny Love was the first in. Saying, I'm guessing pizza tonight for the change. Could be wrong. Phil B. Curry, says Phil B. We've got Johnny Random and Edwin tuning in and Danny Hancock. Luke's in. Who else we got? David Evans. Michael Dodds, how are you, Michael? And Craig Stamen. Good to see you in. And Paul Trainer. And Chip Young and Cal B, and who else? Phil, John Ross, and scrolling down, Marco. I see you're all having a little bit of a debate. Maybe there's money being wagered on what my evening meal's going to be this evening. I'll fill you in a moment. Then we've got Peter S. and Marco, the Essex Cat. Dr. Gomez, how are you, mate? Colin Falcon, Brad Matthews, Grandpa Joe, William Forrest, Kevin Smith, H. Garcia, Billy Paul, John Mack, David Collins, Bob Contreras, how are you, Bob? Nice to see you, mate. Chris Otterwell, Ian Clark, and who else we got? Mississippi Blues, Graham Campbell, John Channing, Jimmy James, Jeff Rock, Dudley Squat, Steve Lamb. Basically, according to the figures that I'm seeing on screen at the moment, 101 of you have all turned up on a rather sunny Good Friday to watch a fat bald lad talk bollocks for an hour. So once again, thank you for showing up. Anyway, yes, if anybody in that sweepstake that seems to be going on about what we're having for our evening meal tonight mentioned chili, then you need to collect on the bet, because that's what we're having. Specifically, chili cheese fries. Absolute heart attack, cardiac arrest on a plate, but worth every calorie. Last night was the kebab, and tomorrow night is the curry. So that's that clears that little bit up. So, what you saying there, Danny? The price of fame, people betting on your dinner. Well, you know. There's worse things, isn't there? That happen to I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself famous. I'm just kind of it's just us speaking, isn't it? We're just kind of our little group, aren't we? Kevin Smith is saying, I have a telly-related question. If you could assist, yeah, sure, fire away, mate. What is the Telecaster-related question? And while I'm waiting for you to type that up, I will take another swig of beer, and then I'll tell you what's coming up on the channel this week, just after I've lubricated with some neck oil. Right, so yes, no video tomorrow, Saturday. As you know, I don't always do a Saturday video. Quite often I don't. That's just sort of when I have something that doesn't fit into the normal run of things. But on Sunday, We've got another SG review. Do you remember when I bought the SG that I've got, which is the standard 60s Epiphone SG? I was kind of umming and ahhing and sitting on the fence between that one and the Epiphone SG Classic 1 with the P90s. Well, I've got my hands on one of those, and I'm doing the usual kind of review, sort of demonstration kind of thing. You know, a few facts and figures and measurements, and have a little bit of a play of it and tell you what I think of it. And there's a piece of music, kind of tabbed out and everything. So that's Monday's video. We'll come back to that in a moment, so I don't miss this question from Kevin Smith. What is it? As a huge telly fan, I was hoping you could help play blues and rock. I have a late 80s Phoenix telly with corroded gold finish hardware and dodgy electrics. Love it, but have a new telly itch. And then he goes on in the next one. Let me put that up on screen. Don't know whether to replace the hardware, electrics and pickups on the Phoenix or go for something new. I'm tempted by a Paisley Harley Benton, a Sire T7, or maybe Squire 70s custom vibe thin line. If you could have only one under 500, what would you do? What would you upgrade, or which one would you buy? Yeah, those Phoenix guitars were nice guitars. I think I had at least one of them. Mine was a telly, but to be honest with you, here's what I would do. I mean, first of all, I would come down firmly on the side of buy something new, and the something new would definitely be the Sire Larry Carlton T7. Those are incredible guitars. Admittedly, I haven't had the Telecaster version of it yet, although watch this space. But, you know, I've got the 335 version of it, and I've got the Strat version of those Sire Larry Carlton guitars. They are just incredible guitars. If they had Fender on the headstock, or, well, certainly the Strat one, it would be a $2,000 guitar, and they're about 400 and something quid. You cannot go wrong with that. And what I would also do is just, you know, every time you get 20 or 30 quid spare, buy some new hardware for the Phoenix and gradually kind of upgrade it and make it a bit of a long-term project. So you're getting kind of double the bubble then, aren't you? You're getting the new guitar, the new novelty, which I often find that getting a new guitar is it inspires you to pick it up and practice and play more, you know. So you're getting that kind of benefit, and those Sire Larry Carltons are really good. And you're also getting the satisfaction of working on a bit of a project and bringing something back to life, and, you know, and having the whole kind of customization thing going on. So that would be what I would do. Just over a period of time, upgrade the Phoenix, but to scratch that itch immediately, just get yourself the Sire Larry Carlton. Anyway, back to the plot. I was telling you what's coming up on the channel. So Sunday's video is the review of the Epiphone SG Classic 1 with P90s. Then on Monday, as is usually the case, we're doing a solo analysis, and it's by a band that most people seem to have forgotten about, and a guitarist who certainly seems to have been forgotten about since he was quite big news in the late 80s. If anybody remembers an 80s progressive rock band called It Bites, with the absolutely stunningly talented Francis Dunnery on lead guitar, well, it's one of his solos that we're looking at on Monday. Tuesday, as is always the case, it's a top 5 video, and I've decided to do it a bit like an awards show. When I'm doing these top 5 videos, it's often the case where it's like, oh, and let's look at these kind of fantastically expensive boutique pieces of equipment, and, you know, and things that, you know, kind of aspire to and lust after and everything. But I've decided not to do that. I've decided to do like the Workhorse Gear Awards show. The stuff that you see doing the rounds in pubs and working men's clubs and bars and weddings bands and functions bands, the equipment that kind of powers the grassroots of the music business, basically, the unsung heroes really of the music business. So we're picking 5 pieces of equipment: an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, an amplifier, an effects pedal, and a wildcard, an accessory that is essential to the sort of the kind of ground troops, if you like, the grassroots music industry. So that's Tuesday's video. Wednesday's video, we're looking at strumming again, basically a particular type of strumming which is used in kind of slower tempo songs, 16th note or semi-quaver strumming. And if some of my pupils are in the chat tonight, you'll know exactly what that's about, because there are sausages involved. If you're curious, then watch the video on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, we've got a comparison video coming up. I was talking about my SG a moment ago, the Epiphone standard 60s SG. Well, good friend of mine called David has loaned me a 1993 Gibson SG Standard, and we're basically doing a comparison video again. Both guitars in a piece of music, in a mix, and seeing how they compare side by side. When playing in a piece of music, and there'll be the usual sort of tab for the Patreon supporters and everything that goes along with that. And then that brings us back around to Friday, and we know what happens on a Friday. So, what have I missed while I've been blethering away there? See, Marco's agreeing with me about the Larry Carlton guitars. I would definitely go along with you on that, mate. He says, I have the Larry Carlton L7, brilliant guitar, but probably about £1,500 too cheap considering the quality. Yeah, that's another one I'm thinking about. But the thing is, I have, that's the Les Paul copy. I have essentially one of every kind of guitar. All right, I've got a few different Telecasters, but I've got one semi-acoustic, I've got one Strat-style guitar, I've got one acoustic guitar. A number of different Telecasters that each do different things. But at the moment, I've got 3 24 3/4-inch mahogany set neck twin humbucker guitars, which, I can't really justify that. So I can't really justify getting a 4th one, the Larry Carlton L7. But then again, since when did rational kind of wants and needs come into this? Let's have a look, see what else we got. Yeah, again, Marco agreeing with me. Sire T7 is the way to go. And keep all guitars. A number of times I've regretted getting rid of guitars. Yeah, that's happened to me a few times where I've sold something and thought, what have I done? Most notably when I got rid of my first Gordon Smith, the GS2 that I had back in the 90s, and I got rid of that to get a PRS. Big mistake. It's... the thing is, keep all your guitars. That's not really feasible for me. As I say, we've got a friend of mine staying over Easter, and I had to clear a load of guitars out of this room, so there's just guitars scattered and dotted everywhere else around the house at the moment. And I think I am going to have to adopt a strict 1-in, 1-out policy from now on. What are your thoughts on Gibson SGs, says Angel Martinez. Let's put you up on screen there, mate. I didn't used to like them. I always, for all the reasons everybody didn't like Gibson SGs, the fact that they don't balance correctly, the neck dive thing, and the neck feeling too long because of where it joins the body, and feeling like you need to, kind of get in a taxi to go and find the volume and tone controls that are that far away from the playing position. And then I got this one, the which isn't in here. As I say, I've got guitars scattered all around the house at the moment. But I got the Epiphone Standard 60s SG, mainly just because I had an urge that I can't explain to get myself an SG. And suddenly none of those things seem to matter anymore. Now, the design of the SG hasn't changed since the last time I played one or had one, which was, what was the last SG that I had? SG style. I think it was the vintage VS6, and I had that back in about 2010. So it's been a while. So in the intervening years, I think obviously my tastes have changed in guitars. Maybe one day I'll start liking Jazzmasters and PRS bird inlays, but don't hold your breath on that one. Anyway, excuse me. I need a fresh set of a fresh tin of beer. Anyway, so everybody get ready to type the word flake, because I know that's what you're going to do. I shall try and not disappoint you, but this is pouring rather well at the moment, it has to be said. Come on, there we go. Have you ever noticed how a pint can of beer, because these are pint cans of Heineken, never fits into a pint glass? There we go. That'll do. That's not too bad. I think we can live with that. Anyway, cheers, everyone. And Ian Clark is saying, it's not your rational wants and needs that cause problems. Having a wife takes care of that. Well, you know, I'm fortunate that I can say, oh, it's just for work, darling. Yes, this is just, this one's just, you know, this is what I do for a living. This is, it's you wouldn't criticize a plumber if he went out and bought a new spanner. It seems to work most of the time as well. Let's go and see what you're saying there, Johnny Love. YouTube recommendations. Ben Crow with the Les Paul 59, March 2022, sold for that much money. And Tim Mills, bare knuckle found with Tone Talk. Yeah, okay, couple of videos there to watch out for. I do like Ben Crow's stuff. Like it's Ben Crow definitely falls into the category of a chap I would definitely enjoy going for a beer with. Excuse me. So, I do like to catch his videos, but a lot of the time, though, I just don't have the time. Does anybody else find this, by the way, that, some of your favourite YouTubers, you think, yeah, I'll watch that when I get the time, and then you just forget because I'm a busy chap. I do long hours doing something I love. I'm not complaining, but when there's a video I want to watch and it's like 45 minutes long, it's like, yeah, when am I going to get time? And then, it kind of gets lost and you forget about it. So let's go and see what else we've been talking about. And flake and anti-flake and stuff. Graham Campbell is saying, in the late 80s, I had an original 60s Guild Starfire, but didn't know what I had, so I swapped it for something with a pointy headstock. Always regretted that. Yeah, I mean, I actually benefited from that, sort of, back in the 80s. I bought, when I was at college, one of my fellow students sold me a Gibson Les Paul Deluxe for from about 72 or 73 for a ridiculously low price. I mean, it was in pretty rough shape. I've spoke about this guitar once or twice before. It was it was covered in those little kind of pots of paint that you get with Airfix model kits in camouflage colours, and the neck pickup didn't work. But it was my first proper kind of brand name guitar. It was mine, and it was a Gibson guitar, and it was mine. And he sold that basically because he wanted something with, I think he was after something with a Carla or Kayla locking trem. and a pointy headstock, and probably some sort of lurid, shocking pink leopard print finish on it, and and again, I let that guitar go. What did I get rid of that for? I think I got rid of that for an Ibanez Iceman, if you remember those, which I don't know why. I just kind of saw it in a guitar shop and thought, oh, that's nice. And I did like a part exchange, and there was, and suddenly I was the proud owner of an Ibanez Iceman, which wasn't really me, frankly, but there you go. Oh, Danny Hancock saying, yeah, it's that pedal show for me. Just can't find the time to watch Dan waffle for 30 to 40 minutes. Yeah, I know. Again, I like the show. Of what I do like about some YouTubers though is when they do a long form video like that and put it out. I've noticed a bunch of people do this. What they'll then do is a little bit later, maybe a week or two later, they'll edit it into kind of little chunks where for 10 minutes of that 40 minutes they're talking about a particular thing, and they'll kind of edit that down and put that out as a separate video. And quite often I catch things like that, which for people who are busy, or just for people who have a short attention span, that's a good way, I think, of if you're a YouTuber, kind of getting more work out of the content that you put, and making each video sort of work that little bit harder for you, and kind of giving people like me the chance to sort of catch up on something that's only 10 minutes long rather than thick end of an hour. Michael Purcell is asking, do you get to sell your guitars quickly? Yeah, I can usually move them on pretty quick. I'm not going to tell you which one, but there's a guitar that you've seen in a few videos recently that has been sold. Just waiting for the buyer to come and collect it. And the reason I can sell them quickly is because I can sell them at a competitive price, because I'm in a unique position. As I often say, I can buy a guitar and then usually I'll do a video where I'm shopping for the guitar, a video where I'm unboxing the guitar, a video where I'm reviewing the guitar, a video where I'm comparing it to something else. So there's 4 videos, maybe even a 5th or 6th one if I can spin it out. So I earn money from those videos. So that guitar has earned me that video revenue, which means that I can sell it below market value and still make a profit on it. And that seems to be a business model that works for me, and I can usually kind of move it on pretty quick. But I understand not everybody's in the position of having a YouTube channel where you can do that. Even if you can't, if you keep a guitar for a year and then sell it, you've had a year's worth of fun out of it. And if you buy a guitar for say £500 and sell it for a year later for just a shade around 400, then having a year's worth of fun out of that guitar has cost you £100. I don't think that's bad, a bad value. And Tom Culhane is saying, what video editing software do you use? I use NCH VideoPad, because back in the days when I first started putting videos up on YouTube, I was using Windows Movie Maker, if anyone remembers that. You can still spot videos on YouTube that are made with Movie Maker because of the particular type of title slides and stuff that it used to generate. And then when I went from Windows XP to Windows 7, suddenly Windows Movie Maker wasn't there anymore. Certainly I couldn't find it anyway. So I just did a Google search for free video editing software, because I'm a bit kind of careful with me money on that regard. Free video editing software, and NCH VideoPad came up, and I've been using it for so long. I actually use the paid for version of it now because I use it like commercially, but I started out using the free version of it, and I've been using it that long now that I just know all of the little shortcuts and how it works and everything, and what the mouse wheel does and all that sort of stuff. And it makes video editing just really, really, kind of quick and easy for me now. It's also got a few good features in terms of stuff you can do with the audio on a video as well. What you're saying there, Time Profit? I find it hard to make my think E strings. I mean, your thick E strings sound good. All my other strings are great sounding. Yeah, that's a tricky one. Number of things there. What I would say is if your low E string, your sixth string sounds a little bit dead and dull, that's one of the first signs I get that, okay, yeah, time to change strings. The other strings will still sound fine, but the thick E string will often start to sound a little bit kind of lifeless, and it loses its kind of ring. When you put a new set of strings on and you play the low E string, it has that sort of bottom end of a grand piano that kind of resonance to it. And when it loses that, that's okay, yeah. I need to put a new set of strings on. That's when I start thinking in those sort of terms. So that could be something you're experiencing. If it happens across multiple guitars, then I don't know what it is. But if it's just happening on one guitar, then you may have some kind of problem with the nut slot or with the bridge saddle. Anything that's affecting the kind of the resonance of the string can only really be caused by what is touching the string, and the only thing that should be touching the string are where it's kind of vibrating from at either end, the nut and the bridge saddle. What are you saying there, Craig? Oh yeah, Craig Stamen, you're getting there some new guitar itch, are you? And Simon Cartwright is saying, can I ask your opinion on roller string trees? Yes, they are a fantastic innovation. Anything, especially on a tremolo-equipped guitar, but even on a non-tremolo guitar, if you've got anything that you can do to reduce friction along the path of the string, has to be a good thing. I mean, the butterfly string trees and everything that you get on vintage Fenders and stuff, I mean, they do their job, and plenty of people have played guitars with those on for years, and had great results with it. But roller string trees, they just they keep the they do what a string tree does, which is to keep the angle of the string over the nut at the correct pitch. And they don't introduce the friction that like a butterfly or one of those round ones does. Yeah, so there you go. What's not to like? And thin E string. Well, says Time Profit. Well, everything I said earlier, mate, but just apply it to the thin E string. Apart from the fact that that's the one that it is the thick E string that is the one which kind of is the sort of canary in the coal mine, if you like, when it comes to needing a new set of strings. I would definitely check the nut slot and the bridge saddle, and whereabouts are your pickups. If have you got if Seymour Duncan introduced the Trembucker pickup, didn't he? To get for kind of Fender spaced guitars with humbuckers, and you do notice that sometimes on Strat style guitars, the pole pieces don't line up under the E strings properly. So yeah, just that could be an issue as well. Just looking at where if you pick up pole pieces sitting not under the E string, then you might need to think about kind of different pickups with different pole piece spacings. Let's see what else we've got. Okay, so you have a Floyd Rose and locking nut on the top. It's only the thin E string, which doesn't sound as good. Yeah, definitely investigate your pickups, mate. And Simon French is saying, "Hey John, if you fancy reviewing my Eastman T59V, how happy loan it. That, mate, is a fantastic and generous offer, and I will probably take you up on that. Just if you go to my website, which is johnrobsonmusic.co.uk, you will find on the lessons page there, you'll find an email form. Just basically fire off a quick message to that. The link is in to that page is in the description of all my videos, so it should be easy enough to find. Just ping me an email via that page on my website, and we'll set something up, mate. Thank you so much. I've been looking to get my hands on an Eastman guitar, and there is a review coming up. Talking about guitar reviews, there's a review coming up. I don't know when, but it is in the pipeline. Someone else is going to loan me a guitar that you've never seen on the channel before. I don't think I've ever even played one of these guitars before. I might have done way back in the mists of time, but certainly not recently. So can anybody think of a particular brand of guitar that has been conspicuous by its absence on this channel? A guitar, a particular well-known US make of guitar. Well, I'm going to be reviewing one of those. And there goes another one. Dear me, it must be the sunshine. It's making the beer taste now. Brad Matthews, yes indeed. A Rickenbacker. Yeah, there's a Rickenbacker review coming up. So I shall be getting me Beatlesy, Pete Townsend, Roger McGuinn kind of head on for that one. Oh, I see a lot of people giving Time Prophet some advice on that E string problem. Do you know that's what I love about this? Because even if I can't kind of offer any words of wisdom, which really wisdom, coming from this face, it's you chaps always, kind of jump into the fray and can always offer some advice. It's if I wasn't doing this live stream, I'll be in the chat kind of watching because. Not because of who's on the screen, because frankly, who wants to watch this? Well, obviously, you do. But it's you lads in the chat that make this the success it is. No, the answer is already out there. It's mind you, I should try and get my hands on a Burns, one of the UK ones, or I haven't done a Schecter, have I? Or a Peavey guitar. But no, it is a Rickenbacker that we are going to be looking at. Let's see. I've done Gibson, not that many, but admittedly, I have had a. What was that? Well, there's a Gibson coming up next week. The SG Standard. In comparison to the Epiphone SG, and I did a Gibson Les Paul Standard, pitting that against. If I just move my head, you can see the Harley Benton Les Paul copy on the wall behind me there. And oh dear me, that brought out the badge snobs, didn't it? Just it was sacrilege comparing a lowly Harley Benton to a hallowed Gibson. They didn't like me for that one, but hey, who cares? Have you played a Brian May guitar? I haven't. I haven't played a Brian May guitar. I keep thinking about grabbing one of those, but the only thing that puts me off is that I'm sure it is a beautifully made, versatile, great sounding guitar because, well, I mean, listen to Queen, but it does kind of identify you as a bit of a fanboy, doesn't it? It's like it's what you're wearing someone else's shoes if you get one of those, to a certain extent, and that sort of puts me off it a little bit. You are kind of a bit pigeonholed, but we shall see. We shall see. I mean, I'm not ruling it out. It would have to be one of those that, unless I know this is famous last words, but unless it really impressed me and I couldn't bear to let it go, then it would have to just be kind of one of the ones that, as I say, I buy. I do a bunch of videos with it and sell it on. I do have this hankering, though, to do the Brian May wiring on a Strat. Because it's essentially, the 3 single coil pickups. And it strikes me as unusual that no company that makes Strat style guitars has done that wiring mod, where you basically got 3 on off and 3 phase switches for each, one for each pickup. So you could get into that Brian May kind of universe, but without kind of, just essentially owning a Brian May style guitar. Even you know what the market's like for aftermarket sort of preloaded Strat pick guards. Even that, it strikes me as being an obvious open goal that no one's took a shot at yet. Phil B is saying, well, I would buy a Brian May guitar from you if you want to get one to review. No, duly noted, Phil. Duly noted. I've got a laptop downstairs, and there's going to be beer inside of me by the time I hit there. So, don't put ideas like that into me head when I'm on the beer, mate. It's that could be dangerous and expensive. Pablo Hank, the Brian May pickup selection get-up sounds fiddly to me. It does to me as well. I'm very much like, I like to change pickup, while I'm playing, and if it's just something like, where you can just flick a switch, like, with your little finger going down like a toggle switch or a blade switch, then that's fine. But when you've got to start moving kind of slider switches around, I think what Brian does, though, he will set up a basic tone on the guitar, and rather than with this combination of pickups, and he will kind of work it with volume control and the tone control. It's just a different way of thinking. You get a preset sound on the guitar, which you can then vary via the kind of rotary controls rather than the pickup switch. But it wouldn't be my first choice, but it just does seem that, like, he has got an identifiable sound, and that it's a sound that many people aspire to, and it's on a 3 single coil pickup guitar. What's the most widely available 3 single coil pickup guitar? It just strikes me as a bit odd that nobody has kind of offered that as a mod for that guitar. Somebody shout me there. Marco, what are you saying, mate? Okay. I saw a website a couple of years ago where a company called Guitar Fetish did a Brian May scratch plate for a Strat with his switching. Well, there you go. You live and learn. I didn't know that. That's one company, though. If Seymour Duncan were to get into that market or something, because didn't they? I don't think they ever did do loaded pick guards, but there's plenty of companies that do, and maybe there are more, maybe I just haven't heard them. Steve Lamb is saying, are the pickups on Brian May's guitar humbuckers? No, they are Burns Trisonic single coil pickups, mate. Yeah, Pablo, I remember that. The Strat 50th anniversary concert at Wembley. and Brian May gets up, and wasn't he playing with the Crickets at one point? You know, and you think, well, yeah, okay, that's a bit of an odd choice. Even odder than that was some kind of Les Paul gig where Les Paul was surrounded by, all of his admirers and, kind of famous people that are known for playing Les Pauls. And what's his name? Steve Miller gets up and at a gig where he's playing with Les Paul, it's a celebration of Les Paul and the Gibson Les Paul. He pulls a Fender Stratocaster out of the case. You think, you're not really entering into the spirit of the thing here, really, are you, mate? Would it have killed you to pick up a Les Paul for the evening? Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Kevin Hartley. Gary Moore stole the show that night with his version of Red House. That is, I've heard, who hasn't heard 1,000 different versions of Red House? The first version that I ever heard was on a blues compilation CD that I picked up in, would you believe it, in Asda. For anyone who's not in the UK, Asda is the UK branch of Walmart. These cheap CDs that they kind of have in bargain bins and stuff. There was this blues compilation CD. This is about 1987. So I picked it up. It was only a couple of quid. I just got a CD player. No, it'll have been later. I got my CD player in 88, so it'll have been 88. And and first track on it is Red House by Jimi Hendrix. And wow. And since then, I've heard Walter Trout do it. I've heard, pretty much every guitar player worthy of the name, because it's just one of those songs that, we all sort of know and we can all kind of knock out a version of. But Gary's version, for me, even over and above Jimmy's version, is the definitive version of that song. What a barnstorming performance. If you haven't seen it, just get on YouTube. After you've watched this, kind of search for Gary Moore, Red House. What an amazing, just impassioned performance that is. Have you? What's this? Let me put you on screen here. Have you reviewed Revelation guitars with Alan Entwistle pickups? No, I haven't. I've played Revelation guitars. They're like a real kind of, if it's the brand I'm thinking of, they're like a real kind of budget low end brand, or certainly were when I played them. 2 or 3 of my students years ago had them, and it just struck me as being like, okay, yep, cheap Strat copy, everything you expect, nothing that you don't, reasonable build quality for the price, and I didn't know there were Alan Entwistle, pickups, but maybe they've gone a little bit more upmarket in the same way. I'm old enough to remember when Tanglewood guitars first came out in the back end of the 80s. And they were pretty rough, it has to be said. They weren't nice guitars at all. But again, a student of mine's got a fairly recent Tanglewood Les Paul copy, and it's a beautiful thing, absolutely stunning. Real. And the thing with any kind of Gibson copy guitar is, what do you do with the headstock? Because some companies have a really good take on, doing something that looks in keeping with that style of guitar and doesn't infringe the Gibson copyright. And some companies, and I know I'm going to cop a bit of flack for this, but Vintage, the JHS Trev Wilkinson design, I love those guitars, but the headstock on the Gibson copies that they do, it's all kind of lumps and bumps and stuff. It's not a pretty looking headstock. But yeah, the Tanglewood Les Paul that this mate of mine's got, it's a really seriously nice guitar. Might see if I can borrow it, do a review. Watch this space. John is saying, I don't usually see these. It's 2:40 a.m. Saturday in Melbourne. Hope all is well. All is fine, mate. I'll tell you why. It's because I'm taking a day off. It's the first proper day off I've had since February. And I've got my old college pal here. We've got beer. And, we're just going to kind of have a chilled out Easter. I've got all my videos stacked up and ready to rock for the next couple of weeks. And I'm just enjoying chilling out a bit, including this little kind of chinwag with you chaps. The Japanese Tokai headstock was very close. You're very close, but it's not quite the same as it. It's almost that open book headstock design, but not quite. They just kind of modified. Well, I think they had to. Wasn't a lawsuit at one point. Says Thomas, I was unaware of how good a singer Brian May is until recently. Saw a video of him doing a cover of Since You've Been Gone. Yeah, now, back in, I think it was not long after Freddie died, there was an ad in the UK for Ford cars, which had this kind of really kind of rocking kind of tune going on in it. Everything we do is driven by you. That was it. And the ad was like running for a few weeks until it kind of came out that it was Brian May who like recorded this tune, and somehow it had got licensed to Ford, and they ended up releasing it as a single. I think it was probably Brian May's first single after he'd left. Well, not after left, but after the demise of Queen due to obvious circumstances, and that really then struck me. Yeah, gosh, he can carry a tune, can't he? Other guitarists like that who are kind of just the guitar player in the band, and then they do something solo, and you think, my God, you could have had a career as a lead singer as well as a guitarist. Richie Sambora, an album that I think is criminally overlooked is I think it's called Undiscovered Soul, Richie Sambora's second solo album. He did Stranger in This Town, which was, to me, it sounds a bit dated these days. There's a song on there called Ballad of Youth that was a minor hit. The Richie Sambora album, Undiscovered Soul, is a fantastic song on there called Hard Times Come Easy. Really good. And you think, frankly, he's a better singer than John Bon Jovi, I think. Controversial statement, but, there you go. Just great songwriting, great production, sort of a kind of a rootsy Springsteen-y kind of feel to it, but still with like kind of a lot of Sambora's great guitar playing. I think it's fun. I really rate him as a guitar player, to be honest. Where are we? What have I missed in the chat? Deco Dude is saying, but Brian May looks like an old woman. Yeah, he definitely needs to either kind of rethink his hairstyle or rethink his hair color. If you're going to have that hairstyle, you've got to keep it. You got to invest in some Just for Men or Grecian 2000 or whatever it was called. But hey, who cares? He is what he is. Let's have a look. Johnny Marr ain't bad. Johnny Marr is, says Brad Matthews, Johnny Marr fits squarely into the category of guitarists that you put up with the singer so you can listen to that guitar playing. I mean, Morrissey, come on. A bit of a, let's say, I was saying Ben Crow is the kind of guy who you would go for a beer with. Well, Morrissey is the kind that I definitely probably wouldn't, actually. And his singing is, well, it's frankly, as far as I'm concerned, it's a voice that only a mother could love. But then again, you've got Johnny Marr's guitar playing on all those old Smiths records. And just, I mean, sublime guitar playing, just completely, you can hear that there's traces of James Honeyman Scott and Roger McGuinn in there, but he is, it's, who else sounds like him? I can't think of anybody, Excuse me, I need to just have a little bit more of a swallow. And yeah, Danny Hancock saying Paul McCartney looks like Angela Lansbury. Yes, well, the thing I've learned about is not to talk about Paul McCartney online, because the moment you do, you get into that whole conspiracy theory kind of stuff of like, well, he was kidnapped by aliens after he was killed, and all that sort of stuff that people tend to go on about, So I just don't talk about him for that reason alone. I see Brad Matthews thinks of has the same opinion as me. I saw someone else up there talking about Morrissey being a national treasure. Fair enough. I mean, I could make the obvious joke there about he should be buried, but I won't. But it takes all sorts, doesn't it? It's one of those things that can't remember who was saying it, but somebody was saying it, like, when it comes to like art in general, music, literature, comedy, and everything. The only way to tell if it's any good or not is if it divides opinion. Because if it doesn't do that, then it's probably just going to be a bit sort of bland and trying to please all the people all the time. And that's not what, good music, good comedy, good literature, good cinema, what that should do. If it doesn't kind of polarize people in some way, that like some people absolutely love it and would crawl over broken glass for it, then other people, kind of recoil from it, then it's not got anything that makes it unique. I see that the debate is raging there about the Smiths. Yeah, Cal, I think you're talking about Brian May there. When that long hair is thin and wispy, it's time for it to go. Looks like Vera Duckworth. Soap actress, for anyone who's not in the UK. Where are we? Let's see what else we've been talking about. Blur were better musicians than Oasis. Can't remember the guitarist's name. Graham Coxon was the guitarist's name, and that was the sort of Beatles and Stones kind of debate of the 90s, wasn't it? You were either an Oasis fan or a Blur fan, and I got to tell you, for me, it was Oasis all the way. I didn't dislike Blur. Park Life I thought was pretty good. And one or two of the tracks whose names escape me now, but Tender, that was another good one of theirs. But on the whole, I got to tell you, just the sort of rock and roll swagger of Oasis. I think it was Alan McGee of was it Creation Records, their record label, when he signed them. He was quoted as saying that he'd kind of perfect combination of the Sex Pistols and the Beatles, and you can kind of see where he's coming from with that statement. I did lose a little bit of interest after Wonderwall, though. for me, Wonderwall and Oasis is a bit like Hi Ho Silver Lining and Jeff Beck. Quite obviously the worst thing they ever did, but it became their biggest successful hit that sort of defined them for a long time. But things. I mean, "Don't Look Back in Anger," I think, is an absolute masterpiece of a song, and things like "Rock and Roll Star" off the first album. That's just good. I mean, you can call it Brit pop or Brit rock if you want, but it's just good old fashioned, kind of foot stomping, barnstorming classic rock. And again, Liam Gallagher, not a chap I'd go for a beer with, because I don't think you'd get out alive, really, on that score. But I do like the band, and it's Noel Gallagher is one of those guitar players who I often reference in lessons, where it's like, when you get somebody that sounds really good, but they're not doing anything particularly flashy. He kind of falls into that sort of category for me. Paul Weller is another one like that as well. Anyway, what you all been talking about while I've been mithering on? Oh, dear me. I am so jealous of you, mate. I'm off to see Jeff Beck in June. He hates Hi Ho Silverline, though. I expect it's earned him a few bob. Well, possibly. But back in the days when, kind of Jeff Beck was signed to Mickey Most's record label. I mean, Mickey Most was a bit notorious in the industry for, being a bit of a shark. And it's like Eric Clapton earns no royalties at all from Layla these days, reputedly. He's because he sold the rights away to Robert Stigwood in the 70s at some point in some drunken haze. Roy Wood, there's another one, Wizard. I wish it could be Christmas every day. Just bad business decisions that he made, and kind of bad deals he had with management and stuff. I don't think he earns a penny from that song these days. Oh, Robster Boy's in. How are you, Robert? Nice to see you here. You just caught the last couple of minutes, mate, but nice to see you in. Oh yeah, that's. Listen to Tom Jules and Jules Holland today. Great album. Bless her. My mother, when she was alive, was an absolute nut about Tom Jones. She used to love Tom Jones. You know how at his concerts where he used to get certain items of ladies' clothing thrown at him on the stage, my mother would have, if she'd had the chance, been one of the ones doing that. And she loved boogie woogie piano playing, so I bought her that album for Christmas the year it came out, and she looked at it and says, "Jules Holland, who's that? I don't know if I'm going to like that." And I thought, well, thank you, Mother. You could at least pretend to be to kind of be interested in the present I bought you. But anyway, yeah, that is a really, really good album. Those Jules Holland albums, I still listen to the first one for me, Small World Big Band, where he's got all the guest singers on. What a fantastic album. In fact, the first couple, there's a brilliant, talking about Jeff Beck, there's a brilliant version, I think it's on the second one, of Jeff Beck with the Jules Holland Big Band doing the old Ray Charles tune, Drowning My Own Tears. What a fantastic, fantastic performance. And I do love all that big band stuff. I'm going to have to start listening to some Brian Setzer again soon. I haven't checked any of his stuff out lately. And anyway, I see we are approaching 59 minutes in, and I don't think, even at my speed of drinking, that I'm going to get through another beer in the remaining 60 seconds. So I tell you what, chaps, I'm going to wrap it up here for this evening. Have a happy Easter, everyone. Thank you once again for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute rubbish for an hour. It's been a blast, as it always has, as it always is. I'm just going to swig this beer off. There we go. And I'll say, time, gentlemen, please. I'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.